1964, end of 1964, I bought a camera. I arrived in New York from Louisville, Kentucky via Milwaukee, Wisconsin to study acting at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. In 1967, I joined the newly formed Negro Ensemble Company as an actor and a founding member.
I was blown away by the importance of that accomplishment. The American Academy of Dramatic Arts had opened up shortly after the Civil War, if I'm not mistaken, and for quite some time was the only acting school in the country. And I think in his 75th year, he became the first African-American male to graduate that school. And then come to find out it was his first audition to get into the school. And my father was in his 50 years old doing extra roles and figuring out how to sneak in and get made from an extra to a principal on a Class A commercial. And he did it on the Miller Lite. The second Miller Lite commercial ever made is with Joe Frazier.
When you order a beer, do like Smoking Joe. Order light beer from Miller and say no more. It's got a third less calories than the regular beer. Light tastes great, y'all, but listen here. It's not the thing that makes me shout. Light's less filling, hey, that really knocks me out.
There wasn't enough work for the actor to express his voice. So through photography now, we find ourselves having this conversation.
When Norman took up photography, he and I had a conversation once, and I don't even know whether he remembers, but he said to me, if I could have chosen what I wanted to be in this lifetime, it would have been a painter. But since I can't paint, I take photographs.
The art is three-dimensional. The canvas is the walls. The tapestry is the city. The texture is the weather and time and the tattered paper. And there is no canvas like this anywhere else in art.
And his photographs are like paintings. And so that's what he did. He'd pick up his camera and I'm gonna go shoot today. I saw something on 2nd Avenue that I want to get before it gets torn down. And he would be gone. I'd say, Norman, where are you going? Out. He'd come back. I'd say, Norman, where did you go? Out. So, okay.
And therein lies the genius. This is an undefined type of art. And you can go through your life, and you can your children can go through their life. You don't often encounter new types of art.
And some of them are just things he saw and shot and showed me when he came home. Sometimes, many times, not just in New York, but when we've traveled, walking down the street with him, he'll stop and say, I'm going to take a picture. I'm going to take a picture of, a few minutes or something. And I'll go off and look in a window or do something while he takes his photographs.
He said that he had 50 years worth of photographs. And I felt that he was a documentarian who was actually documenting what was going on in the various decades, starting in the 60s. And he was documenting civil rights from the walls that were deteriorating in Manhattan, which I found very interesting.
When you think about the time and place when my father starts taking pictures, it's the mid-1960s. And at that point in time, street art does not exist. But he picked these posters. And these posters that he's picked to take pictures of have not yet been recognized as art.
It's not that he was sitting in or demonstrating, and he is from the South, but he wasn't going back to the South to demonstrate. He was taking pictures of what was going on walls.
It's just beautiful work. I thought it was spectacular. The amount of history that the work covered, I thought was significant. He had photographs from the 1960s through 2015, I believe, is what the most recent one that I had, and his story was interesting in that he came here as an actor, and this was kind of a hobby of his to photograph these signs that were peeling and weathered on the walls, and he did it. He had like 50 years worth of this work, and in the advertisements and posters on the wall, you see a lot of history in America and New York, and the political climate, the shifting tides of style and fashion and music, and in many cases some of the issues of the day and some of the protest work at various times. So I thought the breadth of history that the work showed, I thought his style of photography was very reminiscent of some of the constructivist work out of Russia in the early 20th century, kind of combined with some of the documentary approach of Walker Evans, and and plus influenced by artists like Romare Bearden, and I believe he had a friend that really inspired him, a collage artist, Sam Middleton, I believe is his name. And I looked at that work, and that was also beautiful work. But I could see the influence.
And he has documented this. I mean, he's documented civil rights, he's documented jazz, he's documented rock and roll, he's documented fashion in his own way.
I really appreciate the kind of straight documentary approach, and an approach that also incorporates some history with it. But that's one of the things I liked about it, and the color was just stunning. The vivid colors.
It's affected by time. It's affected by weather. It changes from day to day. It changes throughout the day, and it can be gone at any moment. As soon as the next poster comes up and covers what was under it before, or if the construction ends and the wall was temporary and it's removed, the art's gone forever.
A good feeling when I saw it. I got very happy to do it. I saw something there, and it was like my thing was in my head all the time. Oh, look at this! Whoa, look at this! Look, I got it! Oh, look at this! I mean, that's how I work. Absolutely improvisational. There's no planning.
Yes.
You see something like on a wall, you go there, and if you don't go back and get it that moment,
it's gone.
It's gone, because the next day you go, there's a new poster there.
I liked all those people's work that I mentioned. This fit right in that kind of genre, and it brought it up to date. And it brought it up to date in a narrative that covered from the 60s to 2015. And it was kind of inspiring just in that regard.
When you look at the last 40 years of art, one of the biggest debates we've had in society is the line that has been blurred between fine art and folk art, or quote-unquote intuitive art. Artists who did not consider themselves to be visual artists are fine artists who were able to capture, through their work, fine art aesthetics. I think that line has been obliterated years ago. I believe that Norman Bush's work fits right into the stream of modern aesthetics. When you look at when he began to take these photographs in the mid-60s, it was right at the time that Bearden was creating his collages that were going to make him world famous.
A lot of people would never have even considered this as a piece of art, all right? But him having traveled around through the city, seeing all this and looking at it from an artistic perspective, he could see the art in the work.
When you look at this work, the first thing that came to my mind was history. A lot of times artists will capture moments of their own personal life or sometime a communal life, but when somebody takes 50 years of their life to create a personal aesthetic rooted in a communal aesthetic, there's something magical about that. And without further ado, I would like to bring to stage the man of the hour, Norman Bush.
These walls that people put posters on was the social media platform of its time. There was no internet to share ideas. There was no internet to tell you to meet at a certain place for a rally or a protest. People had to post these signs up with what was going on in order to share the information with other people so they in turn could participate.
I think that his photographs are a commentary on what, historically, what was going on in the past 50 years. And I think, unfortunately, he shows that we haven't gotten too far. And maybe we've gone backwards in some ways. Although I don't think Norman would say that. I'm not sure that he thinks that. But I think so, looking at the pictures and living in 2018.
If you see these posters and you see what they're saying and reflecting, and you walk down the streets in your hometown of New York, or again, London, wherever, you're gonna walk down the street with a different perspective than you had before. And how many times do you get to see art that can change your perspective in your daily life? This doesn't happen.
They're compelling enough that they draw you in as pictures to begin with. But, I mean, he has Bernie Sanders, he has Obama, he goes right up to our contemporary time.
And with time and with weather, these forms of communication turned into art, abstract art, street art. And this is, to me, became like really important, because here we have an opportunity to identify and define a category of art which has always existed, but which has been overlooked to this day. And therein lies the importance of what he's done.